Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are taking a truly mind-bending journey. We're going to start with an incredible look at near-Earth human ambition. We're talking about our very real, very expensive attempts to build luxury accommodations right up there in our own orbit. But hey, we definitely aren't stopping there. Once we get off the ground, we're going to zoom way, way out into the staggering, frankly, almost incomprehensible mysteries of deep space. We are going to sketch out the unimaginable scale of these concepts today, going from the tight, hand-drawn blueprints of a tiny space pod all the way to the massive, sprawling canvas of the cosmos. So grab your virtual spacesuit, because this is going to be a seriously fascinating ride.
Okay, let's dive into this. $4 million. Yep, you heard that right. That was the proposed price tag for just a 3-day stay at an orbiting space hotel. When the Barcelona-based firm Galactic Suite Limited announced their plans for a cosmic bed and breakfast, they absolutely weren't aiming for the budget traveler. I mean, this astronomical figure really sets the stage for the kind of exclusive, high-stakes space tourism industry that various companies have been fiercely competing to pioneer. And the business venture behind this? Absolutely colossal. Spanish architect Xavier Claremont mapped out a project requiring a staggering $3 billion in infrastructure and financial backing. $3 billion. And they weren't going at it alone either. They partnered up with the Aerospace Research and Technology Center, or CTAE, for aerospace tech services, and even brought in a company called Four Frontiers Corporation. And get this, Four Frontiers' ultimate goal is actually settling Mars. But I think the most surprising part of this whole shebang is that their market research identified 40,000 potential customers worldwide who could actually afford this multi-million-dollar ticket. Wild, right?
So how exactly does this translate into an actual vacation experience? Well, you wouldn't just pack a carry-on and go. Step 1 of this itinerary actually requires a full 8 weeks of rigorous training on a Caribbean island, which, conveniently enough, would also serve as the company's private spaceport. Not a bad place to train for sure. Then, step 2 involves strapping into a space shuttle for a literal ferry ride out of the atmosphere. And finally, step 3 is the big payoff, a 3-day, multi-million-dollar stay up in low Earth orbit.
But what exactly are you staying in once you get up there? Well, the hotel is definitely not some sprawling mega resort. It's actually constructed of these pod-like rooms, each measuring just 23 by 13 feet, designed to house up to 2 guests. The reason for those super specific dimensions is purely logistical. They literally have to fit perfectly inside a space shuttle's cargo bay for transport. When these 3 pods are linked together in orbit, honestly, they look exactly like those clustered molecule models you probably remember from your high school science classroom.
Now imagine looking out the window of that pod. The logistics of actually living in low Earth orbit are just fascinating. Down here on Earth, we're all used to our standard 24-hour day with a single sunrise, but up in the Galactic Suite, zipping around the globe on an 80-minute orbit, guests would witness a breathtaking 15 sunrises every single day. And to navigate this weightless environment while you're ogling the horizon, you'd actually be wearing special Velcro suits just to stick to the walls of your room. Of course, zero gravity presents some, let's say, bizarre scientific challenges for hospitality. Take the bathroom situation, for example. Traditional showers simply do not work in a weightless environment. So instead of water flowing down, Galactic Suite proposed employing a spa filled with water bubbles just drifting weightlessly through the air. I mean, it's an incredibly fun, surreal image to picture, but it perfectly highlights the massive, real-world engineering hurdles of keeping humans comfortable in space.
So we have these grand billion-dollar dreams of floating in spas just outside Earth's atmosphere. But what happens when we look past our own orbit? I want us to execute a major perspective shift right now. We are going to pull away from our near-space tourism ambitions and zoom way, way out, deep into the uncharted, staggering scale of the cosmic universe.
In August 2007, researchers from the University of Minnesota published an absolutely astonishing discovery in the Astrophysical Journal. Somewhere between 6 to 10 billion light-years away from Earth, out in the Eridanus constellation, they found a massive hole in the universe. And to be clear, we're not talking about a black hole here. We are talking about a literal gaping void in the fabric of space.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how mind-boggling this is. To measure the completely incomprehensible scale of this discovery, we really have to look at previous voids. Now, voids in space aren't entirely new to scientists. They've found what you might call normal ones before, some practically down the street at just 2 million light-years away. But compare that normal void to this giant one, which spans almost 1 billion light-years across. The previous voids scientists had found were only 1/1000th the size of this absolute monster. It completely goes against past studies and computer simulations. It is, to put it mildly, not normal at all.
To truly understand why this is called a hole, consider what is entirely missing from this region of space. There are no stars, no planets, zero solar systems, and no clouds of cosmic dust. But it gets even weirder. There are no black holes that might have gobbled up the matter either, and most shockingly of all, researchers couldn't even find dark matter, which is usually measurable by its gravitational pull. Nothing. It is literally a 1 billion light-year stretch of absolute, unadulterated nothingness.
So, how in the world does something this massive and empty even form? Well, astronomer Brent Tully offered one leading theory. Over billions of years, regions of space that have a high mass essentially act like a giant cosmic vacuum cleaner. They slowly but surely pull matter away from less massive areas. So over an unimaginably long timeline, massive cosmic neighbors might have literally stolen the matter from this region, sweeping it completely clean. Now, to understand how scientists actually found an invisible hole billions of light years away, we have to talk about how we visually map the universe. We use cosmic microwave background, or CMB radiation. These are basically billions of years old radio wave byproducts of the Big Bang. Think of them as baby pictures of the universe, showing us what it looked like when it was just hundreds of thousands of years old. NASA's WMA satellite, which launched in 2001, combined with the Very Large Array Telescope, maps out these ancient radio waves across the sky.
Now, what's really interesting to see here is how subtle the initial clue actually was. Before it was known as a giant galactic void, researchers just saw a cold spot on their colorful cosmic maps. They noticed a massive region where the temperature dropped. And we aren't talking about freezing temperatures here. We are talking about a temperature difference of just a few millionths of a degree compared to the surrounding areas. But to an astrophysicist, that tiny visual anomaly was a massive red flag that something was entirely different about this section of space. So the crucial point is, why does an empty void show up as a cold spot? It all comes down to the mechanics of dark energy. You see, dark energy accelerates the universe's growth. When ancient photons pass through space that has dark energy, they actually get a boost. They gain energy, and that area shows up on a scan as hotter. But when those same photons pass through a giant galactic void lacking dark energy, it's like they have to pay a toll. They lose energy crossing that massive empty expanse, and therefore they show up on our maps as cooler radiation. From the incredible engineering required to float water bubbles in a $3 billion space hotel, all the way to a billion light-year expanse entirely devoid of matter and dark energy, our universe is absolutely stunning in its extremes. Scientists know that dark energy is the most common type of energy out there, driving its accelerated growth, yet it remains profoundly mysterious to us. The temperature fluctuations on our cosmic maps tell a story of a universe that is vast, growing, and full of secrets. Which leaves us with one final thrilling thought to take away from all of this. If a literal hole a billion light years across can go entirely unnoticed until just a few years ago, what else might be hiding out there in the dark, expanding universe? Keep looking up and never stop questioning.